Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I have got the best one for you guys today because I have driven up to Santa Barbara and I've got Scott Walters Realtor USA, who is the absolute guru for real estate that I follow, and I love his channel, and I just wanted to do a quick video with Scott today and talk about real estate, where he thinks it's headed, where his experience, his past. But again, my brother, I have to give him, a big thank you. He turned me on to Scott a couple months ago, and I have not stopped watching him. So please take a second to subscribe to Scott's channel. By the end of this video, you guys are going to want to do that. So Scott is an absolute guru with real estate. He's been through the trenches, and let's get into it. So first things first, Scott, thanks for being here. I cannot thank you enough. So with your expertise in real estate and what you saw, with the 2008 mess, we're starting to see similar things in the marketplace, but not similar. And that is that there's problems that are on the horizon, but they're trying just to act like it's no big deal. They're talking about, forbearance is going to end, but don't worry. The rent moratorium is going to end, but don't worry. And again, I'm getting letters written to me by subscribers that are saying that they are, losing everything. They have to file bankruptcy because they haven't been paid their rent. They can't maintain the expenses, and it's a real problem. So, what do you think is going to happen in the real estate market? In just a nutshell, in the next, let's just do 90 days. You think there's going to be anything big that's going to happen in 90 days?
No, probably not within 90 days, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. And first of all, before we get into that, I want to thank Dan for having me on today, and thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. I absolutely love real estate. I do it for free, and so it was a real honor and privilege to be able to meet up with Dan. You guys got a great guy here. So yeah, it's really weird because I'm a salesman, right? I'm a longtime salesman. My job's to sell. But during the pandemic, there was some warning signs that really started to not pass the smell test for me. And I just saw so much herd mentality when it came to racing out and buying at any cost. And there's a lot of formulas that I like to follow anytime you buy property, but especially right now. I believe that this is some uncharted territory that we're in with the real estate market, and there's absolutely a lot of dust that needs to settle from the pandemic. So I didn't really want to see my first-time homebuyers race out and buy a house and be that financially exposed for one blip in the income or the economy. And my main concern, go ahead.
No, but one thing that you talk about a lot is from where we're sitting. We're at the Bacara Ritz-Carlton right now, and the real estate, if you open up Zillow from where we're at, within 2 miles, I mean, you've got multi-million-dollar properties, and you've got the average house. This is a high-end area, and you've got shacks and what I call shacks, small houses that are well over $1 million, and you've got people that are like putting 20% down. And like you say, what happens if you have a blip in your job? And you can say, oh, that's never going to happen. Tom's been with NASA for 20 years. Well, we just saw something that nobody expected. And with that, it devastated families, it devastated incomes, it devastated everything. And we're seeing that people were not prepared for that. And the landlords that do rentals, I'm seeing a lot of problems with this, and the can just keeps getting kicked down the road where these people are, don't worry, it's gonna fix itself. There's rental assistance, but people are now 17 months into this thing and not paying rent. So I don't know how they're gonna pay that back rent, first of all.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Dan. We really need to let these fiscal cliffs end in the form of eviction bans, mortgage forbearance programs, foreclosure bans, unemployment benefits. These are huge fiscal cliffs. Now, there's a lot of areas that didn't crash in 2008. So this potential correction, crash, collapse, call it what you want, something will be produced from the pandemic. And because we are just now at ground zero, we haven't let one of these fiscal cliffs end yet. We need to have them.
They keep getting pushed down the road. It's like Jeremiah Babe says, it's extend and pretend. They just keep getting kicked down the road. And one thing I found fascinating when you and I had lunch today was you were talking about how areas in the country in 2008 got slaughtered. And some areas didn't do so bad. So you're gonna see, is it gonna affect the places that didn't get affected last time? Because they continued to, they stayed, level, and then now they've gone up a ton. Are those places going to be the first markets? And that's the
well, that's a really good point, Dan. And one of the things that we could look at potentially is some of the areas that maybe didn't get hit in the last recession get hit in this one. But for me, folks, it's more than just looking at the data alone. I think based on what we just saw, it would not surprise me to see, because now we're such on a heavy digital diet, we're influenced by mainstream media and the herd mentality that we just saw from people wanting to race out and buy homes at any cost, even if they have to spend 40% over asking price to get it. Well, if we see, let's say, landlords finally get their properties back. This is just the scenario. Okay. Finally get their properties back, and they just like, I want my tenant. I want to be done with tenants and toilets. I want to get to market. Scott, come list this house. And we see this herd mentality of sellers start to flood. Well, what could happen, even though that amount of property alone might not be enough to crash the market, but if we as a whole, as a society, say, well, now I'm panicking, I think maybe I should sell too, and then all of a sudden this inventory, like, it wouldn't surprise me to see something that we're totally unaware of come and do some damage in the market. So as much as I love to sell houses, I love to take care of people first. That is my number one priority. And I think that there is some opportunity out there. I don't want to ever see anybody spend their life savings to get into a down payment, become house poor, and then the next thing you know, the economy goes sideways again, and they've got an upside down asset, and I'm getting the call to come sell a distressed property.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
And here's the thing, you brought up a great point, and that is your expertise. You've been a realtor for a long time, so you've seen the last economic downturn. And the one thing I get a kick out of is, I'm not going to bash other realtors, but a lot of people, they were not in real estate 24 months ago. And now these people are negotiating the biggest asset of your life. And again, everything that I point out, everything I share with you guys points to softening and things happening. I got a story sent to me today by a subscriber that said, if you paint your bathrooms blue and your kitchen white, you're guaranteed to sell the house and you'll get $5,000 more. Huh? Okay, that's lunacy. But again, when you look back at 2008 and the problems that we had, and when people were overbuying product and they had to go into mortgage forbearance and different programs that either worked out for some people and didn't work out for others, it was a real problem. But your expertise is helping people right now. And the one thing that I admire about you, and the one thing I admire about his channel, was he just didn't say, oh, I'll take anybody. You got a checkbook and some cash, I'll sell you a house. No. It's he wants to work with buyers that know what they're doing, what they're getting themselves into, that are educated in this marketplace, because you've got to be educated right now. And the other thing is that we're seeing people pay way too much for things. And again, Huntington Beach, California, my girlfriend shows me a house, $1.1 million, that a year ago was $600,000. It makes no sense, guys. 0 cents right now. So we're going to see more and more of that right now. And, with Scott and with his expertise, I just think that people need to get ready. They need to have the proper loan. They need to have the proper guidance as far as every aspect of this. Because like I was telling you, I've had people reach out to me from different areas of the country that were in what they thought was forbearance, and they weren't making their property taxes, and now they're facing foreclosure. So, a real problem.
Well, you're absolutely right. Dan's right. Dan's right on all this. The one thing is I'm not... There's a lot of agents more successful than me. There's a lot of agents that have been doing this longer than me. The one thing I will say is that there is a lot of cutthroat agents out there that are just very short-sighted, and it's all about the stats. Like, I work within a team. I split most of my deals. It's not about the money for me. It's about sleeping good at night right now. And I just believe that there is too much turmoil in the markets right now, are too euphoric because the amount of stimulus that was pumped in, there's too much opportunity to get hurt.
Yeah, and the stimulus was a real problem because people took that money, and like I talked about on one of the videos, the average person got $2,190. Some got more, some got less, but people went out and bought cars they couldn't afford. Can you extend my payments? Can you get me into a condo? Can you get me here? Can you get me there? Thinking that everything's going to magically turn around, and it's not. So, let's talk about, a year from now. What do you think the market's going to be like a year from now?
That's the magic.
I think it's going to be really, really the telltale signs of this whole thing, because are people going to go back to work? Are people going to go back to offices? When you walk through retail, even in, a beautiful area like this, retail has been decimated. And there are places that are out of business. Are people going to go back to the office, and are they going to go and work normal right now?
So much information, man.
No,
wow.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. This is really good stuff. I mean, Dan's hitting the nail on the head, folks. I get so shocked when I see how many we're ignoring the elephant in the room in terms of commercial real estate. I mean, and we're in a city, like Dan was saying, this is full of the wealthiest places on earth, and there's places sucking air. A lot of these businesses aren't paying their rents.
Right.
They're taking the eviction ban.
When is that going to end? And that's the thing. It's that, Jeremiah Babe and I walked through El Paseo, which is the Rodeo Drive of the desert. And, then it was 12 months. People weren't paying their rent. And they're like, oh, don't worry, it'll turn around. Well, that was 5 months ago, guys, that we did that. So it's not turning around anytime soon. And I have a friend, and I told Scott about this at lunch, and that was he does foreclosures. And he is seeing crazy stuff in the retail market as far as the foreclosures, as far as what people are doing with shenanigans. They're getting businesses that the property is worth $10 million, but they've taken $20 million of the loans out there. And the guy will be in foreclosure, he'll pay up the note, and then he'll be back in foreclosure again. Well, this is just a matter of time until this guy is completely done. But who's going to rent those places? And who's making the payment? Who's paying the electric bill? Who's paying the light bill, the taxes, everything on that? One thing I got a kick out of was JB and I went to LA, and the Oppenheim group is on Sunset. They have a beautiful office building. They have Selling Sunset. It's a great show. But across the street and all around them is decimated and absolutely destroyed. And in the last 45 days, they opened up a Newport Beach office, and it is beautiful. It's the old Becker surf place. Been by there a bunch of times. And again, what's going to happen? Are they selling high-end properties? And I love the shows, the $1 Million Listing. I love, New York, LA, all that stuff. But if you think it's all like Josh Altman does, where he walks in and goes, listen, you're at 6,500, we're going to be at 6,300 cash, done deal. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing people that have overextended themselves in such a big way. And it's going to be, it's a problem that's going to happen, and I don't know how it's going to get resolved right now.
Yeah, well, you're right, Dan. Now, like Dan was saying, out here it's like being in an episode of $1 Million Listing, but what it's really like, it's not like the TV show. There is so much red tape when it comes to doing a real estate transaction. If it could be done in a TV show, man, that'd be great. Make my life much easier.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things that you said, Dan, that I believe, I like to give everything a year. I think a year is the magic number on this one. I really think we need to take, like today, like August 2021.
Middle of August 15th.
Let's check back in a year. And the reason I say a year, because see, I always say on my channel, real estate is not like the stock market. It can't crash overnight. The stock market can. And everything hinges on the housing market. If the housing market crashes,
it will
everything
be the first bubble
crashes.
that goes. I really believe that, because I think it's just, I relate this to the old Ed Sullivan show where it was spinning plates on a stick, and they're keeping those plates spinning, but eventually the plates are going to fall and it's going to collapse. And with that, so, it's just very interesting to see how this is, because again, I have friends that are in real estate that just tell me, hey, we're not supposed to talk about any downturn. We're just supposed to sell, which, God love them. I guess that's the way to do it. But I just think that your way of doing this is so much better, where you, like you said, you sleep at night.
Well, I'm the exception, for sure. Most agents are going after stats. And again, it's not all about the money for me. I am definitely the exception. I'm a trained salesman. I know a lot of the psychology of sales. And one of the things that I say on my channel a little bit is I always get asked from my customers, hey, Scott, do you think I should wait right now? Do you think I should wait for the crash? And I always tell people, it's not going to hurt you to wait. We're at the top of the market right now. It's not going to hurt you to wait. And the people that have taken my advice have saved tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because at the height of the euphoria we saw about a couple months back, when it was over asking price, 20, 30, 40% over asking price, 10 offers, 20 offers.
Or how about houses that had 140 people, have an open house for 2 hours and 140 people
Yeah,
show up?
exactly.
Crazy
so now
like
those
that.
times have come and gone. they're over. Yes, we're going for full asking price still, maybe even a little over, but not at the numbers we saw. A clear shift has taken place without these fiscal cliffs even ending yet. Let's wait for these fiscal cliffs to end and see what happens. Let's let banks start doing foreclosures. They haven't been able to foreclose on one property that I'm aware of in the past year. That's never been done before. Eviction bans. If you own a rental property and you're stuck with a non-paying tenant, suck it up, cowboy. You know, it's tough. Sorry, you're just unlucky, I guess. I mean,
we're going to
too
get
much
people
stuff.
that are going to say, "Oh, the karma's coming to the real estate landlords." Well, it's not fair, guys. It's just not fair because they have expenses. When you have a property, you have expenses. You have, insurance. You have electricity. You have maintenance that you have to do in these places, and taxes and everything else. And it's just a matter of time until that some of these people can't do it. And like the people that have written me that have just said we're just out of gas. And again, do you think they're going to end it, Dan? And again, I don't know the answer to that. I just, you're going to have litigation with the rent moratorium. That's going to happen. Dabney Friedrich, the federal judge, that just ruled that Biden's thing can go through the end of October, she said, I think that this is wrong. And I called the law professor to say, what do you think about this? She says, it's going to get overturned, but what does that mean? Does that mean a week? Does that mean 5 weeks? Does that mean, you're in the middle of August right now, so you have basically 8 weeks of this. So, I just think that we're going to see a lot of interesting stuff. And the inventory, are you seeing inventory up right now or down right now?
So absolutely, we're seeing a lot more inventory coming onto the market where it used to be exclusively only, buyers. We need buyers, buyer. We're now seeing more inventory, longer days on market, back on market, price changes. There's been a clear shift in terms of the inventory.
A couple things is that I thought was crazy is that I am on TikTok every now and then. I get a lot of TikTok real estate, TikTok marketing sent to me. But there was a guy sending different markets to me on TikTok and making TikTok showing the pre-foreclosures in these different high-end areas. And where you didn't have anything a few months ago, he screen captured it. Now there's hundreds of people that are considered 3 months behind on their house payment. And we're seeing absolute craziness because certain sellers are holding out for maximum dollars. I know someone, friend of a friend, that is in Indio, California, and they got an offer of over $1 million for this house that they paid $350 for. We're gonna keep it. We're going to Airbnb it during this time. I gotta be honest, that's foolish in my opinion, because what happens if the vacation market goes south, if people can't afford to go on vacation right now? I mean, this place that we're at right now is beautiful, but it's not to capacity by any means. It is definitely slower than normal on an August day. So, way
slow.
But again, we walked in the restaurant and it was great.
That was nice for that, being able to get seated and eat, and that was kind of nice. But yeah, no, this is a really popular tour. In fact, one of my favorite movies was filmed here, and it was I Love You, Man. And if you ever get to, what's it, Paul Rudd and Segel,
Jason Segel.
Yeah, so the Bacara here in Santa Barbara, that's one of my favorite movies. But yeah, this place is it's summertime. It's beautiful out here. Right behind us is the Pacific Ocean, blue, the Channel Islands. It's amazing here. This place should be packed. This place should be packed.
Well, let's do this, okay? And you can't help everybody, but if you're a seller right now, what do you think sellers should do right now? Let's talk about that real quick.
Well, number one is always price right in any market. You got to price right. So one of the mistakes agents make is they let their seller set the price. Like I go meet you and you're like, hey, my neighbors, they just sold for 40% over asking price, and we feel like our house is better, so we want to sell for 50. Oh, no problem, let's do it. You know what, I think I can do it. And then knowing very well that I may or may not be able to get you that number, I'm not going to be able to get you that number. Yeah, exactly. So the most important thing for sellers, if you've been considering selling, now's the time to sell. You'll never get more money than you can
now,
right
again, I have people that write me that say, Dan, I am retired. I don't have any bills. My house is paid off. Why should I sell my house? You shouldn't sell your house. You've got an asset that you don't owe any money on. I'm talking about people that are strapped, that are not at the best financial, not in the best financial condition right now. They should seriously look at unloading right now while you can get this market. But the thing that I want to go back to is expertise and a realtor that has been through the trenches. The one thing that I admire about you is that you've been through this, man. You've seen this, and and again, it may get down to 50 grand difference on the house. You want a guy like this negotiating for you over somebody who, and again, cutting hair 6 months ago.
Well, here's
he
the
hates
thing.
that I say this stuff, but again, it's like you want someone who's been tried and tested in the battlefield, and that's what you need, that understands the money, understands every aspect of this right now.
Well, more important than, you're right, you're absolutely right, but more important than, how long someone's been in the industry or not, is if they're level-headed, they're gonna be transparent, and put you before them. And there's so many agents out there right now grandstanding, like, I'm happy to congratulate my clients for just winning this home. Well, you had to pay 40% over. Actually, like, who won here? I don't think it was your clients. I think it was the seller's clients. So, well, I appreciate, there's other agents out there with way better stats than me. I'm just somebody who's always going to give it to you straight.
Again, guys, one thing that we do a lot on this channel is we share the expertise. As a connected marketer, I'm constantly reaching out. I'm asking questions. I'm introducing myself to professionals like this to get this in front of guys like you so that you can see what this guy's done. Now, let's talk about the buyers. What does a buyer do right now in this euphoric, still I know it's softening, but what do they do right now?
Well, be ready to, don't fall in love with anything. Don't fall in love with the house because it's too competitive right now. There's a good chance you're not going to get it. A lot of the buyers that I work with, after having a tough conversation, I'm part psychologist. Like, are you sure you want to buy it? It's not a bad time to wait. How much are we putting down? No, the one criteria I love to use anytime we're financing property, even if you have no plans of making your property a rental property, find out what its rent range is and make your payment match that, just so you sleep better at night. It's like an insurance policy, because if you ever had a problem, you could jump out of that house, let a renter make that payment, and go jump into a cheap rental. So that's the number one thing I always have to explain to my buyers if they're financing.
And you bring up a great point. This was sent to me from one of the subscribers where somebody in Canada had gone out and they were going to work from home, and fear of missing out, they went and bought a house 2.5 hours from where their office was. 2.5 hours, guys. Well, the office said mandatory 30 days you all are coming back. They can't drive 5 hours a day to go to work. So they're in a real problem. Well, they went to go rent the place out. It won't rent for what the payment is. They went to go sell it. It's $100,000 less than what they paid for right now. They're in real trouble right now. But that's what you don't want to be in right now. You don't want to be in that position to where you're just creating a problem down the road. And again, everybody loves to have a crystal ball. Everybody loves to, if we could do it this way, it would be great. But you really have got to be smart right now. And waiting is smart right now. I really do.
First-hand information, and this is one of the reasons I think Dan maybe brought me on, or we started talking, is in the last real estate crash of 08, I bought in my house because I followed the herd mentality. Everybody was buying. I raced out and bought my primary home. And I was based on my comfort level, what I wanted my payment to be. What I should have done is seen what that home would have rented for, what its rent range was, and made my payment match that. Because when the things went sideways, I could have put a renter in there and it would have made its payment. Regardless of what the price in the market does, as long as you can have a renter make that property's payment, then who cares?
Yeah.
Then who cares what it does? You don't get trouble when you buy at the wrong time. You get in trouble when you sell at the wrong time.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can weather the storm and let somebody else make your payment, if you have problems. So that's for me, that's what I do. I talked to a successful agent once. They said, it's not important to own where you live. It's just important to own. And I've always taken that to heart. And anytime now when I advise people, just have your payment match its rent range. Just please do that.
It's the Grant Cardone philosophy of rent where you live. And I mean, either you love him or you don't, but I love some of the things he does with real estate, But again, that statement is a good statement. So, I really want to thank you for coming on. And again, guys, Scott Walters Realtor USA. I'm going to share the channel with you. Please go subscribe to Scott. And he really does share knowledge in the trenches, and he's fantastic. He's just a great guy. I'm telling you, we could have talked for 8 hours today. So so much is happening. There'll be other times, we'll have Scott on with other people and things like that in the future. Please don't forget to like the video. Please hit the subscribe button. Share this with all your friends and colleagues. Also, join the email list. If you want more access to me, there's a Patreon channel, Onward and Upward. If you have questions that you want to give Scott, let him go through the channel. I'm sure he'll answer them. And good luck to everybody.
Thanks, everybody.